I'm Michael Connor, and while, yes, I am feeling a lot better about the Houston Texans, you have to be concerned that there'll be another week with Mr. Longneck.
I'm John Hickman, and Thursday night I'm going to order me some wings and also watch the Buffalo Bills get cooked.
Stan Norfleet, who would have thought after starting 0-3, these Houston Texans have a chance to go above 500 for once? They destroyed the Bills last time they saw them. Do we anticipate this defense can go do it again?
Yeehaw! It's time for the Texans Squad. Everything Houston Texans, every week. Bringing you the big hits, game-changing plays, and all the action straight from the Lone Star State. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Saddle up and squad up. It's the Texans Squad Show, starting now.
I'm really good at doing this, putting you guys back on the screen. Hey, how's it going? I have to say apologies because I'm really good at hitting buttons. It is the Squad Show here on a Tuesday evening. For those that are live, we appreciate you. Make sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, whether you're watching now or later. And, of course, make sure you're getting this podcast anywhere that you get your podcast, and you get John's daily podcast, the Locked On Texans podcast. Hi, guys. First of all, good to be with you. We'll be with you twice this week. For those of you in the scheduling world, we're here tonight. We will be here again Thursday night when Texans and Bills wraps up. We're going to get into that game, of course, because, well, there's a lot of newsworthy nuggets that are involved with it in terms of who's playing and who's not. Yes, it is the quarterback position for the Texans. They will be without C.J. Stroud. We'll get into all that. But, guys, it will give us the opportunity, as we typically do on these Tuesdays, to start things off with leftover thoughts from the previous weekend. Texans beating the Titans a couple of days later. I will tell you guys before I get it to you, I don't feel as good after looking back on some of that Titan stuff the other day. Stan, how are you feeling after it a couple of days later?
I'm not going to lie. I really cheated. I was kind of done with the Titans game. That's the worst football team in the league. There's not a lot to take away from what they did to the Titans, albeit on the road, the second game of C.J. Stroud's absence. And so due to concussion, of course, we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. But I think it looked to me like a team that was sleepwalking a bit. The image that stuck in my head is when the final buzzer sounded, DeMeco Ryans walking off the field. He hands the headset back to some assistant, and he just got that look on his face like, these bleeping guys came out here and laid an egg. Granted, we won in walk-off fashion, but my goodness, can we not do what we're supposed to do to make it easier on ourselves? So we'll see if that motivation indeed has paid dividends in about, 48 hours?
Yeah. John?
My only takeaway is, as Stan said the other day, the touchdown throw was maybe Davis Mills' best throw of his career. That 3rd and 16 throw to beat cover 2 was beautiful.
Put it right in the honey hole.
Right where your receiver can get it. And you also know you got a 6'4" receiver who can go up. So I thought that was a great throw. But I'm kind of with you guys, man. If I would have went back and watched that game for more details than what I've already took away, I would have jumped off a cliff somewhere. That game was god-awful. It was boring.
That first half stunk.
It was bad, man. As a matter of fact, if you have insomnia, if you need something to help put you to sleep, don't look for outside things. Just put on that first half of the Texas Titan game, and you'll go right to sleep.
And we just got through bragging on Nick Caley. The week before, we talked about him and Mills and rhythm and being in his bag and how comfortable it was and what would carry over. Man, listen, there's enough there that they should be able to teach from. Now, granted, again, yes, it's Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat. Arden Key had himself a ball game. I really like what I saw from him. Not Ariante Ursery's best game, but I can't blame him because I don't know what they got going on at the left guard. It's somebody different there. Seems like series by series. And yes, I am being a bit hyperbolic, but they continue to rotate through this offensive line. And now that Titus is back and ready to go, you had him at right guard last week. So do they keep Trent Brown at right tackle? Do they put Titus at left guard and keep Trent Brown there if Ed Ingram is ready to return to his incumbent spot at that right guard spot? it's just week to week, this offensive line has been in flux. And I don't know that that's a great thing when you're going up against, albeit not a great Buffalo defense, but that's still Sean McDermott and a lot of playoff experience.
I do want to add the confidence that, like, I don't know if it's confidence in Ariante Aristry or is it negligence, but I don't know the numbers on this, but how often do we see the rookie left tackle just have one-on-one reps against?
Way too many times.
Yeah. And it feels like, okay, you baptize him a little bit by fire, and he got a lot of baptism during training camp, of course, having to go up against Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. And I'm going to be fair and say he hasn't gotten destroyed in weeks, but it does feel like it at times, like, you don't have to leave him out on the island right now. He's not Trent Williams yet. He's not maybe Laramie Tunsil yet, but he's good.
You just got to poke that bear, don't you, John? You just got to poke that bear.
Help him out a little bit. By the way, Stan said Laramie Tunsil may retire and go to the Hall of Fame.
I said he gets some votes. Let me be clear.
I like all pros.
I understand that. 5 consecutive pros, no all pros. And I assure you, there are men that are in the Hall of Fame that never made all pro. It is unequivocal. Over the last 8 years, Laramie Tunsil is one of the top 3 at his position. Period. No one's going to dispute that.
Top 3?
You can only have 2 all pros at the left tackle. So if he's the third best left tackle,
top 3. Well, okay, I know talk Texans.
I'm just like, he's top 4. Bottom line is, yeah, like I'm done with the Tennessee tape. Can we get to Buffalo, please?
Let's go, yeah, because
I know the whole segment is set up with the leftovers.
I can tell you this, guys. I didn't go back and watch the entire game again, but I went back and watched a little bit here and there. And I think the reason I really wanted to bring it up in the first segment tonight was I just walked away more than anything discouraged, based off of whether it was the execution or the looking past Tennessee, whatever it might have been. I just didn't like the game. I didn't like the game call. And I think you guys bring it up from Nick Caley. I didn't like what he did. And so, like, that's got me discouraged after watching that game going into a big week like this.
Well, do we view the game and the outcome differently if Christian Kirk comes down with that touchdown?
No, because they're still a bad football team that you're beating by a touchdown. A team that you blew out early in the year, that you shut out early in the year, I think 26-0. They just didn't play well versus bad competition. And even this fantastic championship caliber defense, which is still number 1 in yards and points coming into week 12 this week, that defense gave up an 11-play, 95-yard drive to take the game to overtime. Or
Vance Jefferson get behind them. That's bad business.
Yeah, the busting coverage, and they've shown that. So, again, when you get a polished quarterback like that in Josh Allen coming in here, the reigning MVP that he is, even though the award should have gone to Lamar Jackson to be the first ever third consecutive MVP. We all know that watch the game and look at the tape. But the bottom line is the award with the Josh. This offense is humming. They just hung 44 on a good Tampa team that beat these same Texans last week. Did the Bills do there in Buffalo? So I've taken a peek at their injury report. I know we'll get to that as well. But I just think if this defense plays with their food, I say that every week, if this defense messes around, Josh Allen, don't worry about them not having traditional weapons on the perimeter. Josh Allen and James Cook, they're enough. They're enough to hang some points on this team. And so it's going to be interesting to see. Again, we'll talk injuries and about this secondary of Houston.
I'm glad you pointed out James Cook, by the way. He gets lost in the sauce every time we bring up Buffalo. From some people, it's always Josh Allen, who did account for, 6 TDs last week?
TDs, ran for 3, threw for 3.
But James Cook, man, I mean, we all watched his brother Dalvin tear up the league for a couple of years, and I'm not saying he's Dalvin Cook, but James is nice with it. So
James is second in the league in rushing right now. James Cook.
James is nice with it. We got to make sure
he's almost 1,000 yards.
He's almost at 1,000 yards. And one thing that I like about this matchup is Houston typically this year, at least, teams that are very good at something, Houston has taken it away defensively from a team. We look at
they took away Puka Nacua.
That's
They took
the
away
first
a
game of the year.
How many points did they score in that game? Like,
Did they take away Emeka Egbuka?
What I'm getting
they
at
scored
is
like 20, didn't they?
look at how the Jags typically ran the ball. The 2 times they played Houston, they took it away. Look at how Tampa Bay could run the ball and get active. Like outside of the game against Houston, Tampa Bay has scored a lot of points, and it took them that last minute to get to 20. So, like in some ways, even with JSN getting busy, they created 4 turnovers in that game. So defensively, they rise to the occasion against some of those better teams. It's typically always the offense not being able to punch it in the red zone. Score
I agree with that.
Settle for 3. So I don't think James Cook is going to run wild. I'm sure he'll probably get busy in some areas, but I am intrigued in this matchup on how Houston can take away that run game.
Last year, by the way, James Cook in that game, 20 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen was 9 of 30, 131, a touchdown, was sacked once, 4 carries for 54 yards.
A ton of pressures from that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, it was the second worst statistical game of Josh Allen's career. And I said this when we did the post-game show on Sunday. I have a tremendous amount of respect for D'Amico Ryan's defense, but I also have respect for what Josh Allen and that offense brings to the table. It is highly unlikely that they put up this defense, and most of those defenders are back. It is highly unlikely that they go do again. Now, that secondary back there makes me nervous. And Josh Allen, like, we talk a lot about aliens, but a dude wearing 17 that's going to come down here. The Texans are wearing the what do you call it? Battle red.
Battle red.
They're wearing the all battle red. And I think Buffalo's coming down here in the all whites. They may put on the all blues. Whatever. The dude wearing 17 for Buffalo, he's an alien. And he can create so many plays. He did it time and time again to Tampa. They called Tampa man coverage. I watched that game this afternoon, and they turned their back, and Josh Allen was running around all over the place. Especially, they have the ability to cash down in the red area with the way they run the football and how physical they are up front with left tackle Deion Dawkins and some of those other guys. So when you talk about not having traditional weapons, there's no Stephon Diggs caliber player out there. They do have some familiar names at the wide receiver position. Gabe Davis is back in Buffalo, for example. McCole Hardman is a name that people will recognize from his days with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Now, they've got some injuries that they're working through as well. Keon Coleman, their former first-round pick from Florida State, he was a scratch at wide receiver this past game. So they're still trying to work through some things. Yeah, I'm very surprised that he hasn't. I thought he could be a Nico Collins. He doesn't have that explosiveness. But I thought from a body standpoint, he could do some of the things in high point the football and being a target down in the red area, and it just hasn't been there.
Yeah, that whole situation there's weird with him. It's gonna be weird. I mean, that's the crazy thing about Buffalo. You look at them like not that they don't have playmakers, but it's not names that pop off the screen. Maybe that's a reason for hope.
I wonder when they're about to play Buffalo. We know that one of the things that Josh Allen likes to do. I don't have the numbers on it, but since entering the league, he likes to get that ball downfield. I think that's changed a little bit for him, but with no Jalen Petrie being that guy around the line of scrimmage that can create chaos, and a lot of people are just kind of skipping over that, like, oh, we want CJ. I think Jalen Petrie may be just as important in this game against Josh Allen because of some of the things that he can do. And he typically he's cleaned up on his missed tackles, but would Houston flirt with maybe going a little more cover 2 to eliminate some of those deep shots and just trusting that their front four will be able to generate the pressure that they need to kind of knock Josh Allen off?
Here's my concern. It's not a bad idea. We may see D'Amico mix in some cover 2 or some quarters coverage, which is just a version of cover 2. Here's the problem. Henry To'o was on the flagship today, and he admits he has not tackled well this year. Now, none of us are concerned about Azeez Al-Shire, and we all can appreciate the athleticism and experience of EJ Speed. But if you're going to play cover 2 and you're going to keep those safeties back, that means you're exposed in the middle of your field. And when you got guys, Dalton Kincaid, I think I get them confused. Either Dalton Knox or Dalton Kincaid, one of them didn't practice this week because he's banged up. But either one of them is still good enough to work the middle of the field. And then if you get Josh Allen stepping up in the pocket, that big body, what is he, 6'5", 6'6", some 245 pounds? I mean, he's a big man. You just open up that cavity in the middle of your defense, and now you start extending drives, getting first downs with Josh's feet.
Well, does that play into the thought that, I know we got to go to break, but I guess we can bring it back. A very crucial game. Every game is a must win. Should Houston make a change? And early downs, maybe you trust Henry T, but after that, EJ Speed, maybe you put him out there on the field. Your boy, put him out there on the field a little bit more to kind of give you the flexibility to make sure that everything underneath and maybe a little bit over the top doesn't create big explosive plays.
And you need to create those on your side of things, too. Don't forget that. We haven't even hit the big elephant in the room. We got a lot to get to here on the Locked On Texans Squad show right here in just a brief moment. First up, I was actually just at FanDuel looking at the odds for this weekend. Buffalo Bills, 5.5-point favorite. Maybe like the Texans. But I know this, the NBA is back. And there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game or want to, ride that hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Can the Texans win this week? It is a massive question. And, of course, it is a big-time deal because this team has a chance to get over the 500 mark for the first time in 2025 if they're able to pull that off. This is the Texan Squad Show. Michael Connor, Stan Norfleet, and John Hickman with you. Thank you for joining us. Whether you're watching live or listening later on, we always appreciate you guys taking in the show. We'll give our predictions before the show ends, guys. But, you talk about big plays on the other side of things, John, there. And, of course, that's a big deal. You don't want to give up those big plays. We can get more into the defense. But the other thing that's sticking out there, of course, is for those of you that are under a rock and did not see it today, C.J. Stroud was ruled out. He's not going to play again this week. He is expected to play the following week when they take on the Indianapolis Colts in what could be a huge game if the Texans go ahead and win this one.
That's a good one. That's a big one.
But can the
Indy game may be more important because that's a division game, and that could still
that's
put
the question
them in the run for the division. I mean, all games are important, but
they can't catch Indy though.
If it's going to happen, you got to win this week, and then you got to beat them next week since you got two opportunities. It's not impossible, but I would agree with you. They're probably not going to do it. But can they win again this week without CJ, guys? Simple as that.
Can I give you guys some context? We all know how bad the Raiders are right now.
Gino rough last night watching that.
God awful. I mean, I smell them through the TV sometimes. That's how much they stink. The Raiders are paying Chip Kelly $6 million a year, making him the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. The offense currently ranks 31st in scoring. So
that line, though, I mean, we think the Texans line's got problems. That line, oh dear Lord.
All I want to say is there were a lot of people that wanted Chip Kelly here in Houston, and they were willing to pay that amount of money. The Texans right now are ranked 21st in scoring, so it could always be worse.
But you never know what a play caller would do with this roster playing. Granted, it's still a first place schedule, but when you got that quarterback and that offensive line, granted, still no Joe Mixon, but you got Nico Collins. Like I other than Brock Bowers. If you were to combine the two rosters, Brock Bowers would be the best player offensively, other than C.J. Stroud. Nico would be second. Brock Bowers is better at his job than Nico is at his job. Everybody else on offense would be with the Texans. So it's an interesting conversation, but I get personally perturbed because you just never know. You never know.
But right now, Nick Caley being a first-time play caller in Houston has his team at 21st in the NFL. I thought that was funny to bring up. But as we come back to the Texans in their game on Thursday, will the offensive line provide them the boost that they need in the run game? Stan, you brought up an interesting point. I talked about it yesterday. Andrew can come back. Clearly, this is a great opportunity to figure out which is the true best combination. They didn't get an opportunity to do that in training camp because Trent Brown was out dealing with his injury.
So was Cam Robinson.
So was Cam was out for a little minute. But now does Houston flirt with moving Howard to left guard, Ingram back at right guard, leaving Trent Brown out there right tackle, or do they flirt with? And by the way, Ingram has never played left guard in the NFL, but do they flirt with moving him over to left guard? So I think Houston has some things to figure out because the numbers show Buffalo, great passing defense. You can run all through them if you want to.
They're giving up 153 yards on the ground, John. That's second worst in the league.
Yep. And a ton of touchdowns on the ground, too. I think 23 on a year. So we look at Houston having a shot, and I want to talk about that more on my show, so make sure you guys watch it. But
who was that? I'm sorry, John. Before you get going, I'm sorry. Sean Tucker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 19 carries, $106, 5.6 yards per, and 2 touchdowns, and several explosive runs and receptions for big yardage. So I just wanted to add in.
I'm glad you
did. Sean Tucker.
Who is Sean Tucker?
But that's what I'm saying. Woody Mark should be doing what Sean Tucker can do. Sean Tucker is a running back out of Syracuse. How long has he been in the league?
He got 106 of his yards in his career. 106 of his 566 in his career came last week.
Third year in the league undrafted out of Syracuse.
Got busy.
I never heard of him.
So they giving up yardage to Sean Tucker.
Yeah, Ed Oliver out there since Ed Oliver haven't been out there. They hadn't been able to really generate a lot of, like, in terms of sacks, the pressure resulting in sacks. So it's important for Houston to figure out who's the best combination to start the game, and then also the best combination, because I guess we can expect for them to kind of switch things up during the game. That's what they've been doing. Hopefully they can cut that crap out and have a solid foundation moving forward. But, guys, what are your thoughts on the offensive line moving forward?
I'm just looking to see who's out.
It's going to be bad. That's all I got to say. For me, if it's like last week, I've got major concerns about what they're going to do this week against Buffalo.
Well, and we said the formula for Nick Caley is to continue to run the ball and not allowing, especially your backup quarterback and Davis Mills, to become one-dimensional. I need to see Davis Mills' pass attempts come down. 45 in that first game, 41 in the second game. I'd like to see that come down. The only way those come down is if the rushing attempts go up, which is tied directly to the offensive line and those backs. John, they've answered that question for us, I think. They're playing Woody Marks more than Nick Chubb here lately. And late in that ball game, when they had to get in field position to kick that field goal last week, they gave the ball to Woody Marks, who I think was 3 carries on that final drive from what we discussed, maybe 17 yards, give or take. Yeah. So I suspect they will try and come out and do the same thing. They still have Nick Bosa. They still have Rosso. They still have Matt Milano. Like, they still have players over there. They're kind of built like.
Is Bosa still good? And that's a genuine question. I'm trolling because I know sometimes we can get caught up in the name.
When he's healthy, he's competitive. When he's healthy. Now, he's not what he was peak Bosa when he was in San Francisco.
He got 4 sacks.
I'm sorry, when he was with the Chargers. Yeah. So, no, like, they're going to miss Ed Oliver, no question about that. And I think that's really the story of this game. Can the Houston Texans stay on schedule? Can they run the football enough? Can they not fumble the football? And can Nick Caley be creative enough in scheming some guys open? When you watch what Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, does with this Buffalo offense, they're not as talented as the Texans are top to bottom, but how they're used, I think, is absolutely fantastic. You're going to watch a modern NFL offense, and when you got an alien as the signal caller, it changes things.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. 6 touchdowns last week.
And Joe Brady's been under fire with that fan base there a little bit this year, which is crazy.
I mean, he could go, like, what do you want me to do? Look at my receivers. I got Khalil Shakir and Coleman is a healthy scratch, and Gabe Davis is back, and like I don't have a Nico Collins, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to.
I'm sorry, Sam.
No, you're all right. Go ahead.
I was looking at how they put this roster together since Stephon Diggs left, and it is very. Hey, Josh, you got paid, brother. Go do what players that's paid do. And the very next pick after Keon Coleman, y'all want to know who that was? Old lad McConkey.
Oh, for the Chargers.
So I mean, I think that they've done a good job in terms of putting together a good running back room. We talk about James Cook, but I think Ray Davis is a solid backup in this league.
Love him in the return game. He absolutely destroyed Tampa a couple times, heavy in the return game. McCole Hardman fumbled in the return game as well. And while we're there, John, just real quick, McCole Hardman did not practice Monday or Tuesday. Dalton Kincaid did not practice Monday or Tuesday. Khalil Shakir did not practice Monday or Tuesday. Former second-round pick out of Ohio State. Curtis Samuel did not practice Monday or Tuesday. They are banged up at the skill position.
This game is not out of reach for Houston.
No, not at all.
I mean, I Stan, I can't tweet it from the game, but I'll be watching the broadcast to see how many of those empty seats we'll see. So
no chance.
Oh, you know, you're not going to have any empty seats in this one because you know what you're going to have? You're going to have a ton of Buffalo fans.
Let's go Buffalo, which they do the thing. I got some
a bunch of people have already moved down here from Buffalo and New York already, and then you add in that the people want to get out of the cold. It's going to be filled with Buffalo fans.
It will be. Yeah, it'll be packed out Buffalo, which is so Davis Mills is going to have to go on a silent count because his home crowd can't drown out the Buffalo crowd. And look, the atmosphere,
in the parking lot, though.
Yeah, the atmosphere will be pretty good. I just think the game is not out of reach, but I start asking, can this offense put up enough points?
They got to, Stan.
That the Texans defense can take, and the special teams. Kyman Fairbairn is back, as he was last week, I do believe. Did he miss last week, or is this one his first week back?
Last week, Matthew Wright.
He missed. Okay, all right. So Kyman's been practicing this week. He's back. So that makes me feel better from a kicking game standpoint. But like I said, Buffalo's impressive in the return game. Start talking about the field position. Can Davis Mills put this team in the end zone enough times so that this defense can pin their ears back and these edge defenders can get after some folks?
See, and this is what we got to dive into a little bit more because obviously Davis Mills is Davis Mills, 2-0 on the last two games. But I get frustrated with not the decision-making from the quarterback, but the decision-making from the offensive coordinator. Like last week before in the Jacksonville game, we saw Houston be a little bit better in the red zone area. So what was the issue against Tennessee? And it feels like at times, man, they're still trying to figure out their red zone identity, which is why I think, figuring out the offensive line combination will be extremely important because Howard and Brown on that right side, and maybe you put out not Trey Brown, but maybe you put out Blake Fisher in that jumbo package to give you an extra body. They should be able to move guys, but I would like to see them kind of spread the offense out a little bit more. Let Dalton Schultz work inside a little bit, get busy. Let Nico Collins do what he does. Yeah. Give some of those slot guys opportunities underneath. And actually, to be honest with you, I think Jaden Higgins in the red zone is a better slot target because of his size and his mismatch ability. So Nick Haley he has to be better in the red zone. If Houston gets down there and it's just like their number of red zone turnovers from a quarterback, then I have a problem with the quarterback. But they get down there and they have offensive play calling brain farts. And that needs to change, especially against a Buffalo team that's going to score 28 points. They've been red hot coming into this game.
Yeah. And we'll
I think that –
go ahead real quick.
I was just going to add one nugget with that. This offensive line and Nick Haley, as he prepares that side of the ball to get ready to go, he knows good and well Sean McDermott is about to heat their butt up. There will be some pressure packages coming. He'll probably start out seeing if Bosa and Russo can get home. Actually, both of those guys former first-round picks. But if they can't get home with those two guys on the edge, with Ed Oliver not being in there, whether it's run or pass, you can expect them to run some some stunts, some games, and you can see some run blitzes and run fits as well. And of course, he's going to heat them up because this offensive line has shown the entire season, if you pressure enough and you're able to cover on the back end, they'll give up some sacks and some pressure, some tackles for loss as well.
Yep, they absolutely will. We got a lot more to get into, including, what might this mean for the Texans to get this victory? And of course, what's the game plan look like with Davis Mills back there again this week? We'll talk about it right here. Locked on Texans Squad Show.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
So the question becomes for the Houston Texans, you guys talking about what it looks like. Michael Connerstein, Norfleet, John Hickman with you here on the Squad Show. In terms of game plan, and we've seen two different maybe types of game plan, maybe differences between the two games of Davis Mills starting, correct? What does it look like this week from Nick Caley? What does it need to look like against this Buffalo team? Is it simply just run the ball more? Is there something specific when it comes to the pass plays he's calling for Davis Mills? What is it that you're looking for out of Nick Caley specifically?
I think for number one, numbers show it. We got 6 eyes, and when I wear glasses, 8 eyes here. On this show, we've all seen it. Houston got to put their best players out there, guys that can make plays, and they got to move off from Christian Kirk. I'm gonna keep beating that drum. It is about. I know, Stan, and I'm gonna be
too much money. It's too much money. You can't do it.
It was too much money when they gave away Cam Robinson, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and some of those other guys.
I'm with you. I said Cam Robinson. That's what I want.
At this point, you almost have to have him though, because he's just a body, right? You can't lose the body.
Well, he's a legitimate threat. Like, I'm just be honest with you. Experienced NFL DBs are not backing up because Jaden Higgins and no lineup. Christian Kirk makes you respect, especially if you're going to line him up on the same side of the formation with Nico, because he's a natural slot. Nico is a natural X, or you're going to put him to the open side of the field. So those route combinations between those two make you at least, all right, I got to play real ball. Not that they can just lollygag. It's still the NFL, but it's just not the same threat when you roll out Nolan Hickman.
No, I can't buy stock into it, but I do think for Houston, the numbers support it. When they're able to really score points and the offense looks better, they're running the ball extremely well, man. And if there's not a game that the opportunity for them to run the ball for the next couple of weeks is going to be against Buffalo. I look at this offensive line combination. I am extremely intrigued on how they start the game, how they go throughout the game, how they finish the game, because I think those guys can move bodies consistently. And Juice Scruggs, I talked to him a couple of weeks ago in the locker room. He mentioned how the rookie running back Woody Marks' vision has, gotten better throughout the weeks. So if they can give him some space, maybe he can take, a 2-yard gain and turn into a 5-yard completion, right? Just to help the offense out a little bit, because once you're able to do that, I think what Houston really likes to do is build on those play action, and running the ball effectively just kind of forces defenses to kind of believe that, okay, this is a real threat for them in this game. And so I'm curious to see how they're going to do that, because if Houston is unable to at least run the ball for 4.3 yards per pop, then I think it'll be trouble for this offense.
For me, it's time of possession. Nick Caley can't afford to have that defense out there because Josh Allen and the offense is just going to wear them down. That's a top 5 offense in the National Football League. They're a top 5 scoring offense in the National Football League. So, like, you can't allow that defense to get worn down. We already talked about the defense being susceptible to long drives and big plays late in ball games that puts the opponent's field goal kicker or put the opponent themselves. We've also seen late in the ball game fatigue. These quarterbacks scrambling, picking up yardage a la Baker Mayfield. Josh Allen is a significant better athlete than Baker Mayfield is. I'll just be quite frank, and I've had to remain a little bit mum on my perspective, MC, as of late, because the Texans have been winners of 5 of their last 7. Bottom line is the Texans have beaten 2 teams with winning records this season. One of those teams was a banged-up San Fran team with a backup quarterback without Fred Warner and others. And then they did get revenge on Jacksonville on their home field a couple weeks ago. So, or what was that, last week, whatever that is. So I'm like, all right, or 2 weeks ago because they had Tennessee last week. Bottom line is I do not trust Nick Caley and this offensive weaponry, though there are players that have improved. And yes, I understand that Buffalo's defense is not one of the better defenses in the league. If this thing turns into a shootout, I don't believe the Texans can win. They got to win the time of possession, the turnover battle. It's got to be ugly football, and they've got to shrink this thing. That's how they beat Josh Allen last year. They forced the turnovers, and they made it ugly football. So CJ, when CJ was in the saddle last year, he didn't have to go be all magical. He just had enough cracks, enough swings at the plate that good things happen. Same formula. It's just got to be Davis Mills this time.
Let me add to that by saying this game, I think Kamari and Derek and Kalen Bullock, they're going to have to be, good. And I'm going to say this, there's not a receiving threat in sight for Buffalo without Khalil Shakir. There's not a receiver over there that I think, oh, man, he could be a difference maker. The only way that
I say if he's healthy, Hardman. But he hadn't practiced all week.
But he hadn't practiced. Yeah. And tomorrow's Wednesday, and they play in 48 hours. So, like, those guys got to be good because if they're able to eliminate just any of those deep plays, then I would expect Matt Burke and DeMeco Ryans to try to dial up some pressure on not Matt Jones. I'm sorry, Josh Allen to create his life a little bit harder, make his life a little bit harder. So the back end of that defense struggled last week, gave up some plays late on that 11-play the 11
95 yards.
They got to be lights out, and they should because there isn't a JSN, there isn't a Puka Nacua, there's not a Emeka Buka. None of those guys are over there. You got guys that are, Curtis Samuel, who's been in the league for a long time, and if he plays, Keon Coleman, if they allow him to play, he's not a threat. So I'm looking forward to see what their cornerback unit could do because if they play well and eliminate those outside threats, then that should allow for Houston to dial up pressure.
What scares me, MC, about this particular matchup, even with as excellent as the Texans defense has been in the 2025 season, I think about the way that the Tampa Bay Bucks ran the football at NRG that Monday night. And Baker Mayfield was a part of that run game. I think about, I'm going back to this Seattle game now. The Seattle Seahawks put up 118 yards rushing on another Monday night game out at their place coming off the bye.
Primetime trend's not good.
Not good. And what I'm saying is when a team decides they're going to be committed to running the football against this Texans front and be consistent with that throughout the course of 4 quarters, that team typically comes away with their pound of flesh and has put their team in position to win the football game. This defense appears to be healthy, everybody except Petrie and Stewart. So both of those guys play down in the box in the run game. I'm curious if Miles Bryant, who got picked on to start the game against the Tennessee Titans, I'm curious what those run fits look like in that secondary. What chess pieces? Does DeMeco leave 3 linebackers out there? Does he play nickel personnel? I can't imagine he'll want to play nickel going up against this bunch where you don't have those traditional wide receiving threats on the outside. So I imagine we'll see 3 linebackers, and Henry To'oTo'o can get tackled because it's coming. They're going to run the ball, as you mentioned, with Ray Davis, James Cook, and, of course, the reigning MVP, Josh Allen.
Tommy T, another big game from me going to be needed.
Hey, I bet
I'm the most consistent inside guy.
I bet you we're gonna have you guys saying something about him in the post-game show. That's just my
Tommy T's played good ball this year. No question about that.
Good. I hope you can keep him around and let him build with alongside of Will Anderson. Is he like a stud D tackle? Maybe not by name, but he makes plays.
He
does make plays.
He's a good fit for what they have.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you gotta have those guys.
I also want to add this.
Where Lopez was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Oh, Lopez. Some of the draft picks from the Texans. So I know people will hear me and everything I just said about the way Buffalo can run the football. And people will say, well, what about Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter? And both of those men have been impactful in the run game. But schematically, I believe Joe Brady has enough in his bag, potentially. Depending on, we won't know until they roll the ball out there, so to speak, and kick this thing off, and then we'll find out how does it look with these given matchups. But you can run the ball underneath good edge defenders. That's part of the Packers' problem in having Micah Parsons up there. If teams are running the ball, you can run away from guys, you can run the draw game, you can run underneath guys, you can double team guys. So I'll be real curious to see what is the quarterback power is going to be something that the Buffalo Bills use. See, they don't need to throw the ball to a receiver from 3-yard line. They get the ball to Josh Allen, and at 6 foot and 200 and whatever, they make him happen. They make it happen. I would like to see just what are they going to do? Is it going to be some zone and combat that with some inside zone? Is it going to be some power Bob-O, and putting a fullback back there? So I'm curious to see the variety of the run game, and then how does D'Amico counter that?
That is the game inside the game. I did want to bring up one silly thing before we went to our last time out, and we get into our final segment here. Guys, remember what happened last year when the Texans rolled out the Battle Red jerseys, right?
What game was that? Is that Detroit?
The Detroit Lions game. Now the Texans are going to look great, but I'm a little bit concerned, guys, that they've got no
Texans
luck in
on
these
national
jerseys.
TV.
On national TV and in the red uniforms. It's not a good combo.
It's been bad for them on primetime games.
The uniforms are sweet.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Fire.
The all red, the battle red is crazy.
We call them the candy
Those
red.
are my favorite.
It's fire. And I like how it shines too, especially the helmet. But they got to shine on the game. They got to win it. They got to shine on the field because
when's the last time they won a primetime game?
Does the playoff count?
No.
The regular season primetime game.
They beat Chicago. Was that a Thursday night or a Monday night?
Oh, yeah. Was that last year? They beat Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, yeah.
Yeah, that was a Sunday night. I'm looking at it right now. It
Sunday
night football game. They won 19-13.
But even that one,
game
right?
Off the backs of and legs of Joe Mixon, who ain't in this game, by the way.
Oh, you know what? They also won Monday Night Football against the Cowboys last year. They smacked the Cowboys around. Forgot about that one.
That was Monday night.
It was
Monday night. I went to that game
because I was talking about going up there and making a weekend out of it.
It was a pro Texans crowd.
Yeah, the Cowboys were awful by that point. Yeah. So this one on Thursday in front of the nation. I hope for the best effort I do, but if you can't tell by my commentary, I think we'll do predictions on the back end of this thing.
Yeah.
I don't trust this one. I know the Davis magic is real. I just don't. It's a lot of experience over there. This is a hungry football team. Not that the Texans aren't, but this is a football team. You got to remember, a lot of people had the Buffalo Bills represent the AFC in the Super Bowl to start the year. That was the sexy pick.
Right now, they're not even a division leader.
They are in the playoff hunt. No, New England.
They're in the playoff.
New England has the best record in the league. New England has the best record. Oh, you already knew that.
Hey, let's talk about just okay. I got a question for you guys with the picture, and if they win this week and all that, let's get to that here to finish up the show and make our predictions next year on the Locked On Texans Squad show. Right back to it on the Squad show. Michael Connor, Stan Norfleet, and John Hickman. All right, guys. The AFC is in a weird spot. You brought that up there real quickly before the break, Stan. You know, the New England Patriots that nobody saw coming, number 1 seed in the AFC. I mean, not that nobody saw them coming. Nobody saw them being this year. Forgive me.
I'm mistaken. The Patriots have gone to number 2. I forgot about Denver winning.
Broncos, yeah.
Denver's honestly, 1, New England's 2. Same record.
That speaks to the parity of this league. And this is why I do love. Like I'm going through as a baseball fan, I'm going through it right now because they're getting ready to go on a massive labor issue, and they don't have a sport that has any parity, and it drives me insane. This sport has it all every single year, and it's why we love it. The Texans right now, after Kansas City lost to the Broncos this week, and the Texans still just 1 spot out of the playoffs. And honestly, if they win this weekend, let's go to if they win this weekend, what does that do for your thought on if they're going to make the playoffs or not?
We delayed the conversation another week, and I see how that thing happens in Indianapolis. Is that game up there? Yeah, they go to Indianapolis. But yeah. we delay that conversation 1 more week, but it would be a feather to the cap of D'Amico Ryans. I've now seen Sean McDermott and Josh Allen twice. I have beaten them twice. I'm still winless against Lamar, although they did beat the Ravens. Lamar wasn't there, and he's still obviously winless against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, which D'Amico will see them later in the season. So it just makes you kind of, okay, I've beaten Joe Burrow. I've beaten 2-0 against Josh Allen, and I'm still in this playoff hunt. Just staying alive and surviving is so much of this thing. The attrition.
That Denver game's going to come back and haunt this team.
I keep telling you, it's the 0-3 start. It's the 0-3 start.
You look at that Denver game specific. I mean, that Denver game was right there.
It was there. Yeah.
And
so was the Jacksonville game. Jacksonville at their place tried to get a game away. The Tampa game is there.
Tampa was right there. For all intents and purposes, so was Seattle still late. They had a shot at every one of these losses.
Where was Azeez Al-Shire? I was going to say Azeez Al-Shire forces the fumble by punching it out, and then I think the Texans give it right back, but I can't remember how they gave it right back. The Dare fumble. That's it. Yep, the Dare fumbles. He's out there on the third down red zone package or something crazy. This Texas season has been unlike any of the other 2.
Yeah, it's if they win Thursday, for me, I'm still in the place of I'm respecting their ability to climb out of a hole. This isn't year 1. This is year 3, and I think the reason why I bring that up is year 1, the expectation would have kind of been like 0-3, and they actually started out 0-2, but they climbed themselves out of their hole, won games, and made the playoffs, won the division, albeit the division was not good. This is kind of the first time under D'Amico's watch that this team has got punched in the mouth, and they got punched in the mouth again, and they got punched in the mouth again, and they had to find ways to kind of create counter punches back. And when they did, they got punched in the mouth again. So I'm going to consistently be at a level of, hey, they fought themselves through a bad stretch of football. They figured some things out. They've gotten better. Not all monumental changes, big changes, but they've gotten better. And I think it's commendable. I'm not going to talk about the playoffs. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, they're in the playoffs until we see 7 next to their name when I log on ESPN and check the rankings for the AFC, which could very well happen after this week of football.
But, I mean, honestly, just looking at the AFC picture just real quick overall, I mean, do you guys feel that is there any juggernaut in this conference as a whole?
I said I'm not giving up on Kansas City, but Kansas City's in trouble.
They're in trouble.
Kansas City doesn't look good. They're not playing good football right now. And they're losing one-score games that they won a year ago.
Yes, great point. Because last year they pulled those games out and the record showed it. But I think a lot of people knew that team was a little different. So I look at Denver. I don't buy in the Bo Nix.
Same.
I look at New England, huge New England fan here. It reminds me a little bit of year one of D'Amico here in Houston, right? Just it's year two of Drake May, but year one of Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels.
It's got a little bit of Dan Quinn last year in Washington to me. Like it just
okay.
You know.
So I look at New England. I look at some of the pieces that they have. I want to say we so bad, but I'm being professional. Look at some of those pieces, and I can see how when the playoffs arrive, okay, who do you bank on? You bank on Stephon. You bank on, Carlton Davis. You have a minimum amount of guys you can bank on when the playoffs arrive that's been there before and know what the playoffs feel like. Outside of that, we just talked about KC. It feels like anybody that gets a shot, Indy, but Daniel Jones in the playoffs. Daniel Jones all around. Do we believe in him? Anybody?
It sounds like Aaron Rodgers might need surgery on this wrist. This wrist is bothering him. So the Pittsburgh Steelers currently sitting at the 4th spot. I think Baltimore is going to come from behind and halt them. And Baltimore is sitting 2 spots behind the Texans. The Texans, the Chiefs, and the Ravens are all sitting at 5 and 5.
Rodgers doesn't need surgery.
He does not need surgery. Okay, gotcha. All right, so we just got to keep our eyes on that. And so then you ask yourself, and listen, we have to, and we haven't had this conversation, but we need to. This is now 4 ball games that CJ Stroud has missed in 3 seasons due to concussion. Like, that's a real conversation. We can act like if we don't have it, that the neurologists over there at NRG aren't having it, but that's a part of this. They've got to start thinking about, all right, what can we do best to protect CJ Stroud? How does he protect himself? Does that impact Nick Caley's play calling? Are there some times that CJ ordinarily would scramble that now he's being coached out of that and now he's hanging back in a muddy pocket and bad things have a propensity to happen? So these are just thoughts that I have, notes that I have in my phone that come to mind, like, CJ, I mean, you remember the Kansas City game last year in the playoffs. Now, granted, that was a playoff game, but that's a solid Kansas City defense coached by Steve Spagnuolo that got after him, sacked him 8 times, hit him a bunch more. Like, how much punishment, given what we know the sack and pressure numbers have been through the 2.5 seasons of CJ Stroud thus far? Those are just things in the back of my mind. How does that impact the play calling? How does that impact D'Amico's decision-making? And for those that don't understand how the concussion protocol works, this is not about CJ being soft. It's not about D'Amico protecting him another week. It's got nothing to do with that. This is an independent, arbitrary process that has benchmarks and thresholds that you must meet to get out there on the field of competition.
And the league has that because they don't want to get sued.
Thank you.
That part. And they cut one CTE check. They're done.
Yeah.
What'd you say, John?
Practice Tuesday. But that was going to be my part of shot because I've seen way too many CJ Stroud is soft comments.
No, that's not bits.
I've also seen way too many maybe Houston is better with Davis Mills comments. Guys, CJ got hit from the player and the ground. Go back and look at that hit. And the impact from the ground hit was harder than the player hit. And he did the hand gesture where you kind of lose control of your body at that moment. Concussions are not to be played around with, guys. So when I see comments like those from a former athlete myself, and then also somebody who had to deal with a concussion from my sibling and understanding, like waking up in the middle of the night, you think everything's fine, but you just hear your head ringing. That's just, we got to cut some of those comments off, guys. If CJ could be out there, he'd be out there. He practiced Tuesday. Yeah. Didn't get cleared to play, but he practiced Tuesday. Mm-hmm. These things take time. And the one thing this franchise does not want to do is have their quarterback beaten up and broken down by year 4 like they did to kick off the franchise. And I don't even think Carr made it to year 4. So let's just let him get healthy.
That guy also didn't do all the work that he needed to do.
I also want to acknowledge that each concussion situation is different. Right? So we don't know how CJ is responding to this one as opposed to what he went through as a rookie. So again, there's just something to keep our eyes on. Davis Mills has given this team a shot to the arm. He's done everything he's supposed to do. Going back, looking at the Tennessee tape, it wasn't bad. I can't put it on him. It's not like that first half looked like that because he's bad. Did he miss some throws? Sure. CJ misses throws. Quarterbacks in the league are going to miss throws. Those are good defenders over there. Those are the best athletes in the world. But at the end of the day, Davis has played his part well enough to have him in position against this ball game. Now, am I picking Davis Mills to go out there versus Sean McDermott and win the majority of those battles? No, I'm not. I don't believe the Texans are going to win this football game. I think Josh Allen is going to, and that offense is going to take advantage of, quite frankly, Petrie and MJ Stewart and CJ Gardner-Johnson. I know we don't talk about him, but he's still a solid player. It may not have worked here. I'm just saying I think that secondary being banged up, Henry To'o not being on top of his game from a tackle standpoint, and the explosiveness of Ray Davis, James Cook, and we know what Josh Allen can do. I think the Texans are in trouble on this one.
Score?
No.
Listen, the spread opened at 3.5.
5.5 now, Buffalo.
I've seen it at 6.5.
Well, we use our very, official FanDuel sportsbook over here.
So FanDuel has it as what?
5.5.
5.5.
The Bills will cover.
14-21.
Just touchdowns, no field goals in this game?
Well, Score.
It's kind of hard.
I'm taking
James Cook is getting in the end zone once. Josh Allen's going to throw for one and run one. So that's 21. Two field goals, 27.
Oh, man, 27.
27. 27-17, Buffalo.
I'm taking Buffalo 17-13, which would be a Texans cover. John,
I got Buffalo covered.
What are you thinking?
Stan, MC, I like that. Because, the defense still, they do a good job of limiting.
And they play, look how many. Okay, so you mentioned the quarterbacks this year that they've played. Just the quarterbacks alone. Matthew Stafford, his offense put up 14 points.
MVP.
Baker Mayfield put up 20.
You name these quarterbacks. MVP candidate Matthew Stafford. He didn't play as great.
Darnold's team did put up 27.
Candidate.
Bo Nix and the Broncos put up 18. They haven't given up a lot of points. That's why I think I'm going to lean towards it being ugly.
Candidates.
Yeah.
I like that 17-13 score, MC. I do. I think Houston does score a touchdown. Hopefully they can, just be better in the red zone. Continues to be an inconsistent problem.
James and Mike.
I have CJ out there.
I'll say that again. You said you're scared of not having CJ?
Not having CJ out there.
Even when CJ was out there. I agree. Even when CJ was out there, we've seen this team, primarily to this offense, versus better competition. And they have yet to rise to the occasion other than the second Jacksonville game. That San Fran game, come on, man. Go look at who's on that defense. That San Fran game was like playing Baltimore again. So they've got one real win versus an opponent's defense that has the majority of their real starters out there. And that was Jacksonville. And that's a solid win. It was a division win. Got to have it. Cool. But I think that this Buffalo thing is a little different.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so we all expect a loss. You guys want to give your parting shots before we say goodnight?
Hickman?
Yeah, two things really quick. This game is not out of the realm for Houston to win. I think they can still pull it off, but I don't think that they will. My parting shot is actually for Stan. Stan, you are UVA, right?
I am.
Y'all been playing some good football. I see y'all are currently ranked,
number 2 in the conference. Yeah.
Number 2 in the conference, 19th in the nation, 6-1 in the conference, 9-2 overall.
You see it.
I like that for UVA. I also like the hire for VTech. Growing up, VTech was always a school where you just needed to tune into. And so
some good football.
Hopefully they can kind of get some of that back.
So you're going with James Franklin going to Virginia Tech. He's going to steal some recruits away from VA. That's going to be tough. How about two brothers in the Commonwealth? Virginia Tech's got a brother, and then we got Tony Elliott at UVA. Shout out to the brothers with the big headset. Okay. Parting shot as it pertains to the Texans. Dalton Schultz, we're going to need you. We're going to need you on this one. I don't know that McDermott is going to allow Nick Caley to feature Nico Collins as much as he did last week. What was it, 10 targets, 9 or 10 targets off the top of my head? I think they're going to essentially take away Nico, and somebody else out there has got to beat me, whether it's the Iowa State trio, whether it's the Christian Kirk game, or whether it's one of those Dalton Schultz is just doing his thing in the middle of the field there and those routes towards the sideline. He's been catching them all year. I know he's been fighting through injuries himself. Dalton Schultz needs to have a big game.
I can get down with that. For me, as I say goodbye, believe in the unbelievable. This has been a season where weird things happen. So if you're a fan, just believe in that things that aren't believable can happen this week. I hope that I'm right on that. I don't know at this point. We'll be back, though, as soon as the game ends Thursday night right here on this channel, live, talking it all through. Hopefully we'll be a victory. Stay up a little bit late with us as we'll do that. We hope that you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night. For those of you that watch live, for those of you that are going to watch later on, we appreciate you as well. Make sure you join us again Thursday. Stan, John, May, and Wade Smith right here, Locked on Texans Squad Show.